cold, wet sunset in the distance in Western. We'll get you the rest of the keys following the kickoff. West Allegheny will receive to begin the game. It's an onside kick to start the game. A bold strategy by Kiski as it's covered up there by the up man for West Allegheny, Dalton Peluso, falling on the ball at about the 45-yard line. That's where the Indians set up shop, 1st and 10. Joe, let's run down the rest of the keys before we start the offensive series.
All right, for West Allegheny, one play a complete game. Yes, they're 4-0, but they have had a hard time playing 2 good halves. Last week at Baldwin, a good example of that. Number 2, expand the offense. Cam Cruz, Jimmy didn't have to pass the football. And number 3, don't think ahead to Upper St. Clair next week.
Week 5, WPIAL 5A action is the Big East versus the Allegheny 9 as West Allegheny on offense on the first play from scrimmage. Weber on the Wildcat formation runs to the left side. He gets tripped up by the safety Luke Lander, who recently took a visit to Toledo earlier in the season. Makes a stop at the 48-yard line. West Allegheny has a 2nd down and 7. Ball just outside of Kiski territory at the West Allegheny 48-yard line. The officials for tonight's game: head referee Mitch Pachuchin, the umpire Greg Sembrat, linesman Mike Vaslow, line judge Ed Gaminsky, side judge Tom Hackey, and field judge is Calvin DeMillion. On a 2nd down and 7, Gallant goes in motion, and it's a fake jet sweep. Weber has all kinds of room on the left side, has some space, gets the 1st down and more before being dragged down by Troy Kuhn inside the Kiski 35-yard line. A good start for Will Weber. He now goes over 1,000 yards in his career.
Yeah, Will Weber offers the Army and Navy, and you can see why there. West Allegheny last week over 280 yards rushing. Weber had 92 of those. He's going to be a huge key in this game.
Will Weber needed 14 yards to break the 1,000-yard plateau in his career. Already has 22 in the first 2 plays from scrimmage, and now a new back in the backfield for the West Allegheny Indians. That's Mateo Vandamia. We saw him last week in the first play of the game run out of the Wildcat formation. Let's see how they use him here. Vandamia, direct snap, runs through a hole down the left-hand side, and he's eventually going to be dragged down by the linebacker Drew Denunzio-Biss, one of the captains for the Kiski Cavaliers, and a good game by the junior Vandamia. 2nd down and 3 coming up for the Indians. Vandamia, we saw him in the Wildcat QB. Normally is split out as a tight end and is one of the best in the entire WPIL in his position. Comes into this game with 12 catches, 219 yards, and 2 touchdowns, including the 73-yarder last week that made the Max Preps top 10 plays for last week, coming in at number 8. 2nd down and short. Will Weber running to the right-hand side, gets a good block on the outside by Anthony Delavade, but Weber slipping on the wet turf, gets 1st down yards, but could have had a lot more if he kept his footing.
Yeah, West Allegheny known for running the football. This is the first time this season that they have had to play on a grass field, and it's a rainy night. You see Will Weber might have been a little affected there by the wet turf, and we'll see if that's a factor in tonight's game for this offense, for both offenses.
It was a beautiful day when we got here, Joe, at about 4:45, and there wasn't a cloud in sight, and then as soon as the teams took the field, it's been a torrential downpour ever since. Now 1st and 10 at the 23-yard line. Mateo Vandamia goes back in the Wildcat QB. And Vandamia, direct snap. Good block from Takas to the left side. And he drags 3 Kiski Cavaliers down inside the 10 to about the 8-yard line. Lander, Moore, and Harden combine on the tackle. And it's a 1st and goal for West Allegheny.
There's the meatball. Anthony Takas missed the last 2 games. Had some concussion problems, but he is back doing a great job blocking at fullback this year as well as playing defensive tackle. He gets a big block. Tara Vandamia is able to take advantage of it.
Takas is probably going to be the key if West Allegheny were to come out victorious, and if the Indians want to win big, it's going to be off of the back of Takas. He's coming in as the fullback. He'll have to block some of the meaty guys on the Kiski defense, and also keep in mind he'll be lined up at defensive tackle whenever the Indians go on defense, and Kiski's a team that likes to run it right up the middle. And Mateo Vandamia this time runs to the outside, and he splits some tacklers, dragging some more Cavaliers with him about the 4-yard line to set up a 2nd down and goal. Making the stop was the outside linebacker, Dane Fitzsimmons.
And Mateo Vandamia, certainly one of the strongest players on this West Allegheny team. You'll see here taking on multiple Kiski defenders, and that's what he's known to do. He's known to kind of carry defenses on his back, and you see that there in West Allegheny knocking on the door early in this game.
The reserve linebacker, starting linebacker, Peyton McCann, who had a great game last week against Connellsville, tried to make a knee-high tackle on Vandamia, and you got to get a little more authority if you're going to tackle a 6'1", 230-pound tight end like Vandamia. As this is jet sweep to the left side, 4-yard touchdown run. Tyler Gallant, and West Allegheny starts the game off right. A 55-yard drive ends in a 4-yard touchdown by Ty Gallant.
Doesn't get that much easier than that for West A. Less than 4 minutes, and Tyler Gallant kind of overshadowed this season a little bit by Will Weber and Dante Flatty, but he had some nice runs against Baldwin last week with 2 touchdowns, and you see there, second time he's been used on that jet sweep, he's able to take advantage of it for a touchdown.
Colby Stout on to attempt the extra point for the West Allegheny Indians. He's 11 for 13 on point after touchdowns this season out of the hold of Jake Davis and the snap of Zach Hogue. Kick is up, and it splits the uprights, goes into the student section on the far end of the field. And West Allegheny has a 7-0 lead with 8 minutes and 20 seconds to play in the first stanza. And, Joe, that's really a drive that West Allegheny needed, just punching it down the throat of Kiski, a tough defensive team, has had some gaffes throughout the course of the season. 2 weeks ago against Latrobe, giving up 37 points and 450 yards to the Wildcats. And Kiski not off to a good start defensively for West Allegheny. It's exactly what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, and you see what Kiski's defense has been able to do in spite of its win-loss record. Week 0, 17-10 loss to Cannon Mac. Week 1 allowed just 9 points to Plum, 19 points to Franklin Regional in Week 2. Then Week 4 last week, just 7 points to Connellsville. So Kiski's a tough defensive team, but West Allegheny's offense doing a great job of mowing it down the field and really not having any problems at all.
And keep in mind, too, the Week 0 loss to Cannon McMillan, they held the Big Macs to 60 yards.
Wow.
The only reason why Cannon Mac won that game was because of field position. Colby Stout on to attempt his first kickoff of the day. Back deep, Luke Lander and Ross Grease. Kick is away, and it's taken this time by Tracy Moore at about the 11-yard line. Moore tries to slip a tackle, but he gets tripped up on the play by Isaac Longstreth down at we'll call it the 19-yard line. And Kiski will start inside its own 20-yard line.
And we'll see how this Kiski's offense is able to do in running the football. West Allegheny, since the injury to Logan Ross, has had trouble with defensive tackle, plugging up the middle. Ross Grease, very good running back, so we'll see if they can take advantage of West Allegheny's defensive front.
We had the swinging gate on the first play from scrimmage for the Kiski Cavaliers. Ross Grease back standing about 8 or 9 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and you've got 7 players to the left at least. Correction that Ross Grease went in motion, and back in the backfield is just Jessup Wilson, and he completes the pass to his tight end. He gets dumped down immediately by the freshman Nico Flatty, completing the pass to Ross Grease, and Kiski's offense goes backwards on the first play from scrimmage.
And Nico Flatty, a freshman, getting valuable playing time. Brother of Dante Flatty, part of this young West Allegheny core, and a great start for West Allegheny's defense, snuffing out that first play.
Back to the swinging gate for Kiski. Jack Kalechi was the quarterback on the last play, and he stands, again, about 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Drew D'Annunzio Biss, normally the fullback, is the center. Snap to Kalechi, throws left side, corralled by Ross Grease, and he gets back to the original line of scrimmage. Making the stop was Nate Vislowski and Isaiah Crow, stretching it on the far side of the field. And we're back to where we started, and Grease gets a little bit more. It's 3rd down and 8 from the 21. Defensive coordinator Brian Cornell trying to adjust to basically an offense that he wasn't expecting. At least I wasn't expecting the swinging gate. I haven't seen Kiski run it all year. And the first 2 plays from scrimmage, they run it with a very odd formation. Now they go back to normal football. Ryan Wallace, the quarterback, in the shotgun with D'Annunzio Biss, the sidecar. Wallace rolls to his right, throws, and wide open. Jack Kalechi wide open in the middle of the field, and he'll be brought down by Crow and Wisłowski getting down to the 48-yard line. And a foul for Kiski after Kalechi just went unaccounted for on that play.
Kiski coming into this game just 12 for 58 on third down this season, but they are able to convert that third along there. And Kalechi, probably Kiski's top receiver, able to make that catch for a big game, and all of a sudden they have something going on this Westside defense.
The curl route there worked to perfection as the safety there bit on the curl route and allowing Kalechi to get wide open, and the safety slipped as he tried to make a play. The handoff, D'Annunzio Biss gets back to the original line of scrimmage. Tackled on the play by Mateo Van Damme and Anthony Totkis, as you mentioned, coming back from a mild concussion he suffered in the overtime win against North Hills. And it's 2nd and 10. Kiski, who averages only 19 points a game, scored 42 last week, but barely had over 200 yards rushing in the dominant victory against the Falcons, going about 267 total yards on the day, as D'Annunzio Biss barreling his way up the middle, and it's going to take a couple Indians to bring him down. Delavade made
Biss, the captain for this Kiski team, a second-team all-conference player last year at linebacker, showing his toughness there as a fullback, getting a few yards and making it a third and manageable for Kiski, who again has struggled on third down this year.
Wallace, the quarterback who won the starting job over last year's starter, Bryson Venanzio, is under center. Ross Grease dots the I, and the give is to Grease up the middle, and he's going to be pushed backwards by a couple Indians, getting, looks like, about first down yardage. Nate Wisłowski able to push him back, but Grease using his strength to push his way past the sticks, and Kiski's 2 for 2 on third down. 1st and 10 from the 42-yard line, maybe the 41. As Ross Grease and company getting off to a strong start. The senior running back currently holds offers from Edinboro and Robert Morris. He has 1,369 yards in his career. Came into this game only coming in at 2nd down and long for Kiski. Wallace in the shotgun. Expect a pass play here. He rolls to the left-hand side. Fake throws and completes the pass to just gets down to the 36-yard line. An impressive play there by the junior wide receiver, and Kiski has a third down and manageable from the 36. You see there on the replay, Kalechi getting open again in the middle of the field. The safety's not covering that part of the field, and Kiski's able to take advantage. 3rd down and 5. Ross Grease will not pick up the first down. A tribe of Indians converge and eventually will get brought down at the 34-yard line. Nico Flatty making the stop. Flatty's been very impressive in his freshman year, only his 3rd start, and he's come along very, very well for Brian Cornell's defense.
Yeah, and Kiski running it on 3rd and 5, probably a good sign that they did that with the intention of going for it on 4th down, and that's exactly what they're going to do right here.
4th down and 3 coming up for Kiski. They're 6 for 15 on 4th down attempts, while West Allegheny's allowing opponents to convert 60% of the time on 4th down, and head coach Bob Palka will have to burn his first time out of the first half with 2:48 to play in quarter number 1. The West Allegheny Indians with a non-conference game out here in Vandergrift. Coming into this game undefeated at 4-0, averaging 40 points a game, but giving up 22 is something unusual of a Brian Cornell defense. While Kiski, on the other hand, offensively not getting a whole lot going throughout the first 5 games, averaging 19 points a game. They're 1-4, 1-3 in the Big East. But as you take a look at the Allegheny 9 conference standings, looking at number 1 and number 2, Upper St. Clair and West Allegheny. That game will be played next week at Joe P. DiMiccala Stadium. And this is a game, and not necessarily a tune-up game here from Vandergrift, but West Allegheny would certainly like to get things going before heading into a pivotal matchup next week against the Panthers.
Yeah, playing a Jim Render coach team, you always want to have that momentum. And West Allegheny, they better make a statement tonight, because in the first 4 games, they haven't really made a big statement just yet.
4th down and 3. Wallace rolls to the left. Unloads down the middle of the field, nearly intercepted by Noah Ledford, covering Ross Grease on the wheel route. And West Allegheny holds on defense and will take over from their own 34.
Yeah, I like the play call there from Kiski on the rollout. Great job by West Allegheny secondary, as you're going to see here, not allowing Grease to get open, and the pass is nearly intercepted but batted down. Great job by Ledford being prepared for that play, and West Allegheny survives the scare here in the early going.
West Allegheny on to try and score in the second possession. It went on a 3-minute and 40-second drive covering 55 yards, capped off by the 8-yard touchdown run by Tyler Gallant. And Will Weber fakes the sweep, runs to the right, gets a block from Stout, gets first down yardage. There's a flag thrown at the end of the run as he's brought down by Ross Grease and company. And we'll have to see what the flag is. A conclave amongst the officials on the far side of the field just to decide what the flag is. And we're going to get the call now from head referee Mitch Pachuchin. And it's a 5-yard face mask called against the Kiski Cavaliers, giving up 5 extra yards to West Allegheny, putting the Indians in Kiski field, or in Kiski side of the field, excuse me. And it's a 1st and 10 from the Cavalier 47-yard line. West Allegheny has not attempted a pass play yet. It's been all run from the get-go, as Dante Flatty will get his first carry of the game in the Wildcat QB. Flatty runs to the left. Tries to outrace Troy Kuhn, but Kuhn slams him down on his head. At about the 42-yard line, there's a flag down on the far side of the field at about the 45-yard line. Ricketts and Hogue were on top of their men, getting some good blocks, but one of them might have got called for holding. Two consecutive penalties, and we'll see what it is, and it's a defensive hold against Kiski. So 10 more yards tacked on for West Allegheny, and it's another first down. The ball is going to be spotted 10 yards from where the flag was thrown, which was the 45-yard line, putting the Indians at the 35. Flag goes against the Cavaliers. Correction, it'll be from the end of the run, but nonetheless, 10 yards tacked on for West Allegheny down to the Kiski 32-yard line, and the Indians are rolling right now. Something that they couldn't get down. Something they couldn't get done last week against Baldwin, getting off to that strong start, faltering in the second quarter against Baldwin. We'll see how West Allegheny holds as we're down to under 2 minutes in the first quarter. Flatty, direct snap, runs up the middle, deflects his way off of some tacklers, gets a block from Totkis, but his man gets up and makes the tackle at the 26-yard line. A touchdown-saving tackle potentially by Peyton McCann, who got up after being pancaked by the fullback Totkis and made a nice defensive play there.
Yeah, you see the athletic ability of Dante Flatty being able to bounce off those tacklers. Flatty had a career night last week, 117 yards against the Baldwin Highlanders. He's getting some good runs on this drive, and you're seeing the depth of West Allegheny's running game with Weber, Gallant, and now Dante Flatty.
Flatty came into this game rushing for more yards than Will Weber. He came in rushing for 388 on 44 carries. Weber, 369 on 65 carries. As Gallant, his second carry, jet sweep to the opposite side of where he scored the touchdown and gets down to the 13-yard line where he's gang tackled by a couple Kiski Cavaliers down to the 12-yard line.
And West Allegheny starting to run it to that far sideline. Getting some decent blocks. You see Anthony Takas with the block on that last play, but West Allegheny getting some big yards going north-south as opposed to east and west.
And it seems like the middle of the Kiski defense is hurting right now, and that's because they're missing 6'5", 260-pound defensive tackle Isaac Reed. He's out on the field right now on crutches, so he will not see action tonight. Taking his place, Brian Sames, who only stands at 5'8", 170 pounds. First and 10 from the 13. Flatty has a crease, spins his way forward. Stop. Second down and short. Now inside the 50-yard line. Take a look here on the replay. It looked like Flatty was down as he gets spun down right here, but somehow, some way, able to stay up on his feet and getting down inside the 5-yard line. As the first quarter clock expires, West Allegheny off to a strong start. It's only 7-0, but offensively, West Allegheny is clicking on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, West Allegheny using up the clock. Took over 3 minutes to score on that first drive, and they've been holding the ball now here for a while as well. They're running it. We haven't seen a pass play yet, but West Allegheny's offense, you mentioned earlier that last week against Baldwin struggled in that second quarter. That's really been a struggle for West Allegheny all year, as they've allowed 33 points in that second quarter. So we'll see if that's just a coincidence or if the Kiski Cavaliers can get something going on offense before the first half is over.
Including 11 points last week to the Baldwin Highlanders, the only points that Coach Lauren Cooley was able to manage against West Allegheny. And also we want to remind you that during away game broadcasts, we rely on Sprint 4G wireless network to stream. So if you experience any stuttering or buffering or anything of that nature, all you have to do is refresh your YouTube browser. So keep that in mind in case you are having technical difficulties watching at home. We have several parents at home not making the trip, an hour trip all the way out to Vandergrift. So if you're having any problems, all you have to do is refresh your YouTube browser and you should be good to go. 2nd and 2. Ball 4 yards away from a 2-possession lead for West Allegheny against the Kiski Cavaliers. Correction, Isaac Reed, as I said, was not hurt on the play. He is lined up against the right tackle, Anthony Delavade. Instead of moving from the middle of the field, he goes to the defensive end as Kiski stacks everyone in the box. Weber runs to the right, and he's going to get dumped down, initially hit by Peyton McCann. And he gets fallen on by Ross Grease, make that Dane Fitzsimmons. And Weber gets nowhere on the play. It's 3rd down and 2 from the 4-yard line.
Kiski really stacking the box there, making no room for Will Weber to go. And they know West Allegheny wants to run the football, and they're prepared for it. And nothing doing for West Allegheny on that last play as a result.
That's something Kiski likes to do defensively. Stack up 9 guys, 10 guys in the box, and try to force West Allegheny to the outside, and where it's been wide open for them, but Weber up the middle, and it's wide open for him. He dives in the end zone. A 4-yard touchdown run by Will Weber. West Allegheny on top, 13-0 over the Kiski Cavaliers. A 4-yard touchdown runs by West Allegheny, one by Gallant, one by Weber, and West Allegheny's up by 2 scores.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward run here from Will Weber. As you see a block from number 52, Anthony Delavade. Classic West Allegheny smash mouth football, 3-yard touchdown run, and West Allegheny taking care of business so far, about to go up by 2 scores.
Stout will attempt the extra point. Noah Ledford will hold. Zach Hogue will snap as 50 seconds have elapsed in the second quarter. Kick is up, and the kick is good. There's a flag down as Peyton McCann came charging in and drilled the holder Ledford, and it's going to be an unnecessary roughness call against Kiski. So 15 yards will be added to the kickoff, and West Allegheny will kick off from the Kiski 45. It's a cold, chilly night here at Davis Field in the penultimate game being played here at historic Davis Field, where Kiski's own head coach Sam Albert grew up watching the Cavaliers whenever Kiski was in its prime in the early 1970s. The Kiski Cavaliers were the #1 ranked team in the state of Pennsylvania during the 1971 season and had a 45-game winning streak. They won the state championship. Was not a thing until 1988. Back then, the season only stopped at the Whitfield Championship game. Kiski in 1971 beat Thomas Jefferson 16-8, and Kiski was the #1 ranked team in the state, #5 in the country. And Sam Albert grew up watching those teams, even though he was a graduate of Apollo Ridge and was the former head coach at Valley from 1991 to 93. As a matter of fact, his first year at the helm of Valley, he led the Vikings to a Whippeal championship game before being defeated by Blackhawk in 1991. Also was the head coach at Butler, Freeport, and most recently at Highlands, where he is the winningest coach in Highlands history. At 14 years, his record was 75-57. And Sam Albert met Colby Stout's kick. A deep with a see how and Mateo wants to go to Troy Kuhn's 185 pounds, forcing him to the grass. It's 3rd and 8.
Yeah, and Will Weber doing a great job of getting pressure on the quarterback on that play. Really rushed the quarterback, and Van Damen does a great job of finishing the play. And Kiski again backed up in 3rd down, where they've been successful so far tonight.
Wallace goes back in the shotgun. He rolls right. Looks over the middle again, and the pass tipped. And is it intercepted? No, it's not. Off of the fingertips of the safety, Noah Ledford, and off of the back of Kyle Guilfoyle. And no turnover for West Allegheny, but Kiski does go 3 and out and will be forced to punt.
A big 3rd down stop there for West A. Wallace again looking for Jack Kalechi. Kalechi was open, but the ball ends up hitting off the hands of Kalechi and almost being intercepted before falling to the ground. And good job by West Allegheny forcing that 3 and out and making the Cavaliers punt.
Jared Custer back to punt. West Allegheny had a significant special teams advantage last season against Kiski, blocking a punt and returning 2 for a touchdown. 1 was called back, but Custer, a sky-high punt, and fair caught by Will Weber at the 46-yard line. So the Indians will set up shop there, 1st down and 10 for offensive coordinator Mark Davis and his offense to go to work. Upcoming schedule coming up for West Allegheny. Next week, as we mentioned, a huge Allegheny 9 conference matchup against Upper St. Clair before a road game against the Hampton Talbots, who is on the up and up. And finally, in 3 weeks, a home game versus the Woodland Hills Wolverines. And on paper, the second half of West Allegheny's schedule is no easy task by any means. 1st and 10 from the 46. Weber runs left. Sniffed out by Grease, flagged down as Weber gets tackled 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And we're going to see what the call is as Grease made a fine defensive play on his outside linebacker position. Virtually went unblocked and made a 6-yard loss on the play, but West Allegheny gets called for a hold. So now it depends on what Sam Albert wants to do, whether take the penalty or leave it at 2nd and 16. Penalty will be declined. So Weber loses 6 after Grease made a fine defensive play. 2nd down and 16 from the 40. West Allegheny's offense out on the field, and we're seeing now our first glimpse of a quarterback in and on the play. In the shotgun stands Jamie Diven. He sends Noah Ledford in motion from left to right. Diven rolls to his right, completes the pass. No, it's off the fingertips of Noah Ledford. Correction, that is Cam Cruz in at quarterback. And the pass falls incomplete, slipping off of the fingertips of Noah Ledford. 3rd down.
Yeah, Cam Cruz likes to roll out. That's one of the big differences between him and Jamie Diven. Tries to complete a short pass there. Doesn't work out, and now you're going to see Jamie Diven for the first time tonight.
Jamie Diven and Cam Cruz last week went 0 for 6 combined, while Will Weber went 2 for 2, 85 yards and a touchdown. Both of those passes being complete to Mateo Van Damia in the win last week. And Bob Palko would certainly love to see these quarterbacks develop, and this is the perfect opportunity stepping out of the conference. Diven, 3-step drop. Eludes the pressure, throws over the middle, too far behind Jake Davis, and West Allegheny goes 3 and out.
And Jamie Diven, more known for throwing the ball downfield than Cam Cruz is. He was in there on that 3rd and long. Has struggled with his accuracy a bit so far this season as a young quarterback, as Cruz and Diven are trying to fill the shoes of Nick Ross. But that was a strong throw, but again, behind the receiver, and West A is forced to punt.
Stout will punt for the first time tonight after Divin nor Cruz could complete the pass, and Ross Grease tackling Will Weber for a 6-yard loss didn't help anything. So Stout back to punt, back deep to receive is Tracy Moore. And the punt is away. Back to Tracy Moore, and it's going to take a Kiski bounce before being scooped up by Fedorka at the 34-yard line. Kiski will set up shop from there, 1st and 10, looking to cut into this 14-0 deficit created by the West Allegheny offense.
Yeah, Kiski's defense finally showing some life there on that last possession, forcing Westside to punt. And a key to the game I mentioned coming in was for Kiski's offense to at least be respectable, and they've dug themselves a hole down 14. Kiski's offense has to move the ball down the field and kind of penetrate this West Allegheny's defense. That's really as simple as that.
Wallace in at quarterback, takes a snap, rolls left, looks for Lander the whole way, completes the pass, and Lander brought down by Elijah Colliers, who was thrusted into the starting position in week 2 and was one of those next men up that Bob Palco instills in his football teams, and Colliers made the most of his opportunity. But nonetheless, it's 2nd and 9 from the 35. Colliers, possibly the fastest player on West Allegheny's team. If it's not him, it's Noah Ledford, but it's awfully close between the two. He's a huge West Virginia fan and is originally from Weir over in West Virginia. 2nd down and 9. Handoff to Grease, and nothing doing there. Kyle Guilfoyle sniffed it out. Anthony Delavate finished the tackle, and it's 3rd down and 11.
Again, you're seeing that zone blitz from a Brian Cornell defense. Guilfoyle in there to stop the run. Does a great job, and Guilfoyle has been doing well at stopping the run from that safety position. He's very quick. He's making those plays, and Kiski in another 3rd down situation.
Again, back to the next man up mentality. Kyle Guilfoyle comes in. He has 2 interceptions on the year and has done very well, especially on those zone blitzes, stopping the running back for losses. Wallace throws deep, left side to Kalechi, and just over the head of the junior wide receiver. It's 4th down for Kiski.
Yeah, Noah Ledford on that coverage with Kalechi. Great job by Mateo Vandamia to get pressure on the quarterback, and you're going to see the replay here. Wallace goes back. Mateo Vandamia gets a great jump, is able to hit Wallace pretty good, and Kalechi was open, but because of that hit, not a lot of communication there between the quarterback and his number 1 wide receiver.
Custer on the punt, standing at the 19, while Will Weber, back to receive, stands at the 33. Snap goes over Custer's head. Custer has to retreat, falls on it at the 11. It's not going to matter. West Allegheny takes over 11 yards away from the end zone.
Mentioned last year's games, Kiski special teams a big deal. Here comes to life in a different way. Snap is high and punter falls on it, but West Allegheny takes over from the red zone, and they have a chance to really kind of put Kiski further in the grave with 7:42 to go in this first half.
Looked like just a bad snap there by the long snapper, Caden Harden. Went just over the head of the punter, Jared Custer, who stands at 6'2", as you're going to see right here. The snap, no, it just looked like it slipped right through the fingertips of Custer. It is wet out on the field as it was raining throughout the entire pregame, but nonetheless, 1st and 10 from the 12-yard line. Will Weber running left. Carries some Cavaliers with them. Gets down to the 7-yard line for a pickup of 5. West Allegheny inside of the 10-yard line. And Will Weber is down and writhing in pain. That is bad news for West Allegheny. Will Weber, it's not looking good from up here. He's clutching his face mask, and it looks to be a lower body injury as the athletic trainer is looking at his foot right now.
Yeah, Will Weber, the senior captain, really the heart and soul of this West Allegheny offense. You hate to see any player go down, and all we can do is kind of see this injury out and see if Weber will be okay to come back in this game.
The good news is they have Dante Flatty sort of in Bob Palco's back pocket. Flatty came into this game with more rushing yards than Will Weber by just 19 yards. Weber, although has been the heart and soul of this team, been the player of the week for the last 4 weeks, leads the team in total touchdowns. He has 7 touchdowns receiving, 3 touchdowns through the air, and is also the second leading passer on the team. He comes into this game with 172 passing yards and a quarterback rating of 370.53. He eclipsed 1,000 yards in his career, and if you're a West Allegheny fan, you're hoping to see that number just increase and hope that he's okay, as Bob Palco out attending to Will Weber. Weber holding offers right now from Navy, Army, and Cornell. Has had a fabulous senior season, and he's going to be carried off of the field. You hate to see that, especially for a West Allegheny fan. But now it's next man up for West Allegheny. The good news is he is walking. The bad news is it's a heavy limp on his left foot as he gets held to the sideline by Bob Palco and the training staff. It'll be second down and 5 from the 7-yard line, and especially heading into the game next week, if Will Weber's banged up, that's not good news at all.
Absolutely not. And also think about what Will Weber can do on defense, not only from the linebacker position, but playing safety as well. Just a versatile football player all around.
Second and 5, ball at the 7. West Allegheny has to burn another timeout. Cam Cruz came in as the quarterback, and Bob Palco has to burn yet another timeout. The quarterback situation completely up in the air. Will Weber was perfect passing with a 9-for-9 completion to attempts ratio, passing for 172 yards, and he's not going to be able to return to the game right now. We won't know his status until probably halftime, with 7 minutes and 19 seconds to go in the first half.
Kind of interesting to see the look from West Allegheny there in the red zone, second and medium at the 7-yard line, having Cam Cruz out on the field. West Allegheny is a run-first team, and especially in the red zone, you almost never see the quarterback out there. You usually see a wildcat formation, but Cam Cruz was out on the field, and we'll see if they go with that traditional quarterback look here in the red zone on 2nd and 5.
So now it's about how West Allegheny responds. Its leader goes down in Will Weber, and now it's time to see who will step up in the absence of Weber. It's Cam Cruz now a quarterback. He stands in the shotgun with a 3-receiver set, 2 to the right, 1 to the left in Vandamia on single coverage against Greece. The running back, Gallant, gets set in motion. It's a screen pass to Gallant, and he can't hold on. It's 3rd down and 5 after Gallant couldn't hang on to the slippery ball thrown by Cam Cruz. And West Allegheny trying to get in the end zone for the 3rd time.
Conditions probably a factor there, and Tyler Gallant's been used as the motion man quite a bit. Cam Cruz not known for long passes, tries to hit Gallant on the short pass, and it was looking pretty good, but Gallant just could not haul it in.
Now it's Jamie Diven in at quarterback. Expect a pass play from him on this 3rd down and 5 situation from the 7-yard line. Diven throws left the whole way, throws it up, dropped by Vandamia in the corner of the end zone. That's normally a ball that Vandamia would catch on single coverage against the cornerback in the corner of the end zone, but Vandamia unable to hang on as well.
Yeah, they're going to see this replay. Vandamia with a considerable size advantage on the corner, Ross Grease. Or excuse me, not Ross Grease, that's Tracy Moore. Considerable size advantage. Devin with a good job throwing it up, but Vandamia not able to crowd it in.
So Colby Stout will attempt the field goal from 24 yards out. Stout's kick is up and is good. Colby Stout 3 for 5 now on field goal attempts. And West Allegheny takes a 17-0 lead over the Kiski Cavaliers. Thanks for tuning in on the West Allegheny Sports Network. Brandon Rossai and Joe Smeltzer calling the action like we will all season long here on the West Allegheny Sports Network. And the West Allegheny offense was looking good throughout most of the game. despite going 3 and out on its second to last possession, but on this recent drive set up by the gaff by the special teams of Kiski, Will Weber goes down with injury, and the offense unable to do anything from there.
Yeah, good job by Kiski's defense, really hanging tough with that field position set up by the bad snap on the punt. Could have been a lot worse for Kiski, but the main concern for West Allegheny right now is the health of Will Weber.
17-0 to score. West Allegheny on top of the Kiski Cavaliers, looking ahead for a big conference matchup against Upper St. Clair. Stout will kick it away. Grease and Moore switching sides as they go back deep, standing at about the 10-yard line. And the kick is away. Taken on the run by Grease at the 15-yard line. Grease splits the middle of the field, sidesteps an Indian, and gets past the 35-yard line where he's tripped up by Nico Flatty. Alongside him making the stop was Brock Downing. But nonetheless, it's 1st and 10 Kiski from the 37-yard line.
You mentioned earlier talking about Kiski's loss of Cannon McMillan in week 0. The battle of field position really being a defense. So West Allegheny has won that battle so far, but good job by Ross Grease, at least starting Kiski in respectable territory and not just downing it in the end zone for a touchback.
We'll see what Kiski can do from here. It has a 1st and 10 from its own 37-yard line. Wallace, being pressured by Mangold, has to throw it away. It was intended for Lander. It was short by about 5 yards. He was under heavy coverage by Elijah Colliers. It's 2nd and 10. The defensive line's really getting after Wallace here in this game, especially considering they have the considerable size advantage over the offensive line. The tallest and biggest lineman that Kiski has is the right guard, Caden Harden. He only goes 6 foot and 255 compared to the defensive line, who has a considerable height advantage over the offensive line. Handoff, Grease. And he gets brought down by Vezlowski, crossing the 40-yard line, setting up a 3rd down and 7 from the 40-yard line. Ross Grease offers from Edinburgh and Robert Morris has amassed 1,400 yards in his career. Comes into this game rushing for 250 yards on 5 touchdowns. Also has 15 catches for 122 yards. He was first-team All-Conference. He was the first-team All-Conference running back last year alongside Yale running back Zane Dudek from Armstrong, and obviously we know about him. Wallace, pass nearly intercepted by Isaiah Crow. Crow just can't seem to hang on to the ball no matter where the ball comes off of him. It hits off of his right pad, and Kiski forced a punt.
Yeah, good pass protection there by that Kiski offensive line, but Wallace just a poor decision on nobody really near Isaiah Crow there. And again, the wet football possibly playing a factor, as it feels like we've seen a lot of drops from both sides so far tonight.
Custer on the punt. His last attempt, the ball slipped through his fingers. Let's see how he handles the snap this time. And the snap high again, but pressure being brought on, nearly blocked, but he gets it away, and it takes a Kiski roll. Fedorka was charging and seemed to hesitate as the ball got off before Fedorka can get a hand on it. And Kiski pins West Allegheny back to about the 35-yard line. So the Indians, without their star player, Will Weber, will go out on offense. Jamie Diven, Cam Cruz, trots out onto the field. Both quarterbacks going 0 for 4 right now in this game, and neither quarterback has been able to complete its last 10 completions, or attempts, I should say. And this time it's a direct snap. Kyle Merritt going up the middle, down to the 35, down to the 25, and he's brought down by Ross Grease and Luke Lander down to about the 25-yard line. There's that next man mentality. Kyle Merritt gets his first true varsity snap and gets a huge gain on the play of about 40 yards.
And the West Day offensive line makes that happen. A great job pulling by Bryce Manley, and Merritt's able to run through that kind of that elevator type of hole for a big gain, and West Day's in business approaching the red zone now.
The Indians knocking on the door, standing at the 25-yard line. Cam Cruz back in at quarterback. Kyle Merritt, who had the big run just moments ago, stands in the backfield as he dots the I. Davis in motion. Cruz rolls to the right. Pass complete to Jake Davis. Bounces off a tackle, and he's going to get dumped down by Peyton McCann. Is going to be ruled down to the 21-yard line. There's a flag down on this near side of the field as the clock stops with just over 5 minutes to go in half number one.
Second down, 6 for the Indians.
So we'll wait and see what the flag is. Correction, that is not a flag. That is a leaf. Excuse my bad eyesight. My glasses are currently failing me right now. Nonetheless, it's second down and 6. Kyle Merritt in the Wildcat. Merritt runs left. Nice block from Delavade, but it's a flag on him for a hold. He's spun to the turf by Ross Grease. And it'll push West Allegheny back 10 yards to the 33-yard line. Delavade will be a nice block. Gets called for holding on the left defensive end, and the Indians are going backwards. A clean game thus far, played by this West Allegheny team, and for the first time really all night, they shoot themselves in the foot. Obviously, Palco's not going to be happy, but at least the first mistake comes with a little over 4:20 to play in the first half. So it's second and long as Jamie Diven is in a quarterback with a 4-receiver set, 3 to the right in Mendamia, Guilfoyle, and Davis. One to the left in Isaiah Crow. Diven looks left the whole way, throws Isaiah Crow, pass is incomplete off of the right hand of Isaiah Crow. He's getting frustrated with himself as he's unable to hang on to the ball, just like he hasn't been able to all season long. It's third down.
And I was eyeing Isaiah Crow all the way on that play. Initially, it looked like he had Tracy Moore beat, but great job by Moore, just 5'10" against the 6'6" Isaiah Crow, staying all the way, not giving up on that play and knocking that ball down, and sets up third and long for West Allegheny.
Diven remains in at quarterback after throwing a nice ball to Crow. He drops back. Screen pass well over the head of Tyler Gallant. And Diven just a bad throw there on the slip screen, and nothing doing for the Indians. So now it's decision time. They're a little too far out of field goal range, but also too close for the punt team. So it's decision time on this 4th and long.
Yeah, Kiski doing a great job of pressuring Jamie Diven on that play. Among those, Justin Hessen, the defensive end, also a wrestler at Kiski. It looks like West Allegheny sending the offense back out.
Diven is a punter, by the way. I saw him warming up with the punt team earlier on. You might expect a pooch punt here from the junior quarterback. Diven is in the shotgun. And no, it's a 4th down attempt. Pass over the middle of the field, nearly intercepted by the diminutive Luke Lander, who was covering Jake Davis in his safety position. And Kiski takes over on downs, 1st and 10 from the 33-yard line with just a shade under 4 minutes to go in the half. Be sure to stick around for the Marching Pride halftime show. That will be performed whenever halftime hits. You can stay tuned to the West Allegheny Sports Network for all the latest in West Allegheny football and marching band here on the West Allegheny Sports Network. Ryan Wallace remains in at quarterback, who won the starting QB position over Bryson Venanzio. Delayed handoff, no, it's a fake. Rolls to the left, and the pass is complete to the tight end, Troy Kuhn, who had a step on Noah Ledford, who made the stop. But Kuhn, strong hands there, hauls it in and picks up the first down.
Yeah, good job by Ryan Wallace on that play, not getting flustered. He had pressure from Brett Mangold there on the West State defensive line, but Wallace able to get the ball out of the way in time and hits Kuhn, and that's very close to a first down.
So it's 1st and 10. Kiski looking to get on the board before the halftime clock strikes 0. And Wallace rolls to the right and slips and falls on the rollout. Had a nice block from D'Annunzio Biss on the blitzing Nico Flatty, but Wallace just slipped and fell there. It's 2nd down and long. Clock didn't start there on the technically a sack, but Wallace fell under his own power, so the clock will be now delayed until we get the next stoppage of play. Wallace has 2 receivers to each side. He drops back, throws to the right. Intercepted! Isaiah Crow will go to the house. A 30-yard pick six by the 6'6" cornerback.
Isaiah Crow stepping in front of the wide receiver, Jessup Wilson. We saw in that last possession, Crow very unhappy with himself for not making a catch in the end zone. Now redeems himself, has that interception, and takes it to the house, and West Allegheny pads its lead even further. Great job by Isaiah Crow to redeem himself on that play.
He read the play beautifully, realized it was a screen. As you take a look on the replay, he was in single coverage, dropped back, and you see he was looking right the whole way, and Crow sniffed it out, and no one would catch him on that interception return for a touchdown. Colby Stout wants to make it 24-0. He can with the extra point. Zach Hogue charging on the field. He's the long snapper, and West Allegheny's got to hurry before being backed up 5 yards. Play clock down to 3. Gets it off. Bad snap, but the kick is good by the senior kicker, Colby Stout. 24-0. West Allegheny on top of the Kiski Cavaliers after Isaiah Crow sparking a nice defensive play there on the interception return for a touchdown. And the Indians' defense does it again.
Yeah, West Allegheny's defense known for turning the ball over and known for making big plays off of those turnovers. If you remember week 1 against Fox Chapel, a key to that big first half was 2 interceptions ran for touchdowns. And you see Isaiah Crow living up to that tradition here. And Kiski is in a very deep hole, especially considering the struggles that they've had on offense this season.
Kiski quarterbacks combined with Wallace and Venanzio have only thrown 3 touchdown passes, and now with the pick 6 by Crow, have thrown 11 interceptions in 5 games. Well, now 6, if you include this one. Colby Stout will kick off. Moore and Grease back deep. Grease had a nice kick return on the most recent kickoff. We'll see if he gets another chance, and he will not. This time it's Tracy Moore. Bobbles it, picks it up, being charged under, and West Allegheny able to swarm him under. That's making the stop for West Allegheny, Paul Fedorka and Isaac Longstreth. A mistake there by Tracy Moore. Kiski pays the price. He gets hit hard at the 20, and Kiski has bad field position yet again.
Yeah, Kiski has to make something. This could be very well its last offensive drive of this first half. And for the Kiski offense, something has to get going.
Wallace back in at quarterback. He stands in the shotgun. 3-step drop. Looking over the middle the whole way. Pass complete to Kalechi. Over the middle once again. And Kalechi went down awkwardly, and he is down in pain. He gets up under his own power, but may have pulled a groin. He reached down over his lower body, and he's going to jog off the field just to catch a breather.
Kalechi runs that post pattern. Great play by Isaiah Crow there, saving what perhaps would have been a touchdown. But Kiski needs to get something going at the end of this first half, and that's a great start on the first play of that possession.
It's something that the West Allegheny cornerbacks have had trouble with all year, the post pattern. Once Kiski gets that stop, they seem to always be in front of the corners and leading to big games and sometimes even touchdowns. Wallace slips and falls yet again off of the wet turf, and Kiski gets backed up 9 more. It's a wet one out there. The rain has stopped, but both teams' players feeling the effects. Wallace slips and falls on the rollout for the second time. So Kiski trying to get something going before halftime hits. It has 1 minute and 50 seconds to crack the scoreboard in the first half. Wallace rolls to the right. Dumps it off to Lander, and he can't hold on. Pressure brought on by Veslowski on the quarterback Wallace, forcing the ball just a little bit out of the reach of Lander. Third down and 19 coming up for Kiski. Ball at the 41-yard line. The last time Kiski had a third down, well, it was disastrous for the Cavaliers as Isaiah Crow picked off a pass intended for Lander. We'll see if they go to that right side again. Lander's on an island right now with Crow, while Kalechi returns to the game on the left side. On a third and long, Grease runs up the middle and runs into a wall of West Allegheny players. Vandamia, Mangold, and Delavade make the stop as West Allegheny burns its third and final timeout with 93 seconds to play until halftime.
Ross Grease, the heart and soul of this Kiski football team. We talked about before the game how the Indians were able to contain Grease very well last season, and same thing kind of happening here tonight. We talked about how Grease is a power runner, and that could have played in Kiski's favor given the struggles that West Allegheny has had plugging up the middle. But West Allegheny's defense doing a great job of snuffing out the run and really making Kiski beat West Allegheny with Ryan Wallace and through the air instead of with their main man, Ross Grease.
Kiski's offense has to get something going, not only against West Allegheny, but throughout the rest of the season. It had not necessarily an easy schedule to begin the season, as the Big East is a lot tougher than the Allegheny 9, but the second half of the season is no cakewalk at all. Next week, hosting McKeesport, then at Gateway, then at Penn Trafford, and then hosting Armstrong. That is a brutal four-game stretch for any team in 5A. Jared Custer back to punt on a 4th and 18. Snap this time is low. Punt is blocked. Paul Fedorka gets the block. It's scooped up by Kyle Merritt. Ball is down to the 10-yard line.
Love the way those young guys play on special teams. Paul Fedorka, Kyle Merritt, two guys who I was impressed with 2 weeks ago at Chartiers Valley. You see here special teams again playing a big factor. Fedorka able to get through and block that punt, and Kyle Merritt, two pit bulls really on the special teams in West Allegheny in business once again. And let's see if they can put it in the end zone, which they were not able to do the last time they got the ball this deep in Kiski field position.
Fedorka was unaccounted for as he just charged right up the middle, and West Allegheny is knocking on the door yet again. Cam Cruz is in at quarterback. He completed the only pass that West Allegheny has completed in this game. And Cruz rolls to the right, looking to complete another pass, and he throws too short to Noah Ledford in the corner of the end zone.
Cam Cruz is a sophomore, very young quarterback. He is effective on the rollout, but his problem is arm strength, and that is something that will come with time. He throws the ball a little short as to where Jamie Diven can tend to be a little too long on his passes. Cruz is too short, but both of those guys are underclassmen, and they have a lot of time to get better.
Cruz and Diven both have their pros and cons. Cruz has more game experience, but Diven, as you said, has that better arm. So we'll see how Cruz will use his experience to his advantage on this 2nd and 10 from the 11-yard line, looking to punch it in for West Allegheny. Cruz this time hands off to Gallant, and Gallant is going to be dragged down by a Kiski Cavalier. Drew D'Annunzio-Biss, the second-team All-Conference linebacker, making the tackle. And it's 3rd down and 6. Make that 3rd and 5 for West Allegheny. D'Annunzio-Biss put on 10 pounds in the offseason and is one of the 2 junior captains alongside Troy Kuhn. He was described as a high-energy guy, and Coach Sam Harbor believes sky is the limit for him. He doesn't have any offers, but I expect that to change as he transitions from his junior to senior year. Clock now at 40 seconds and running on a 3rd down and 5. Cruz lobs one to the end zone. Caught for a touchdown. Mateo Vandemia catching his third touchdown of the season. An 11-yarder, make that a 6-yarder on the corner of the end zone. The toe tap and the score.
Seeing West Allegheny going at Tracy Moore and not outside with the size advantage that Isaiah Crow, Mateo Vandemia possess. It hadn't been very successful early on, but you see Tracy Moore, really nothing you can do against Mateo Vandemia with a considerable size mismatch on that play.
West Allegheny up by 30 against Kiski, using a big first half to its advantage. As Stout's extra point is through the uprights and will go out onto the street behind the field. 35 ticks to talk until halftime. It's 31-0. West Allegheny on top of the Kiski Cavaliers. Other games going on around the Allegheny 9. The game of the week by default, pretty much. Fox Chapel is at the Moon Tigers. Meanwhile, Woodland Hills is at Hampton. Chartiers Valley is at Upper St. Clair, and North Hills is at Baldwin. In the Big East, Franklin Regional is at Connellsville. Plum is at Armstrong. And undoubtedly the game of the week, probably in any classification, the Gateway Gators are at the Penn Trafford Warriors. We'll get some updates for you whenever we get the chance at halftime.
Two teams both with a shot, I think, to play at Heinz Field in November. Two very good teams there.
It'll be interesting to see how the playoffs pan out, not just for the Allegheny 9, but as you mentioned, those teams, Gateway and Penn Trafford, the game of the week, regardless of classification. And we do have a score update right now with 4:30 to play in the first quarter. Penn Trafford's on top of Gateway 7-0. Colby Stout will kick yet again. Moore and Grease back deep, but this is a squibber taken by the up man in Jessup Wilson, and Wilson is hammered by Isaac Longstrap. He's been everywhere on the special teams defensive unit. So Kiski takes over 1st and 10 from its own 37-yard line with about 32 seconds to play in the half, and we'll see if Kiski wants to run a play or just take a knee. It looks like he's going to line up to take some snaps. Haven't seen a whole lot of Ross Grease running the ball. This time it's Drew D'Annunzio Biss. Slips through a tackle, goes to the left-hand side, breaks away, breaks some more tackles before finally being drilled from behind by Brett Mangold inside of the 30-yard line. D'Annunzio Biss now the leading rusher for this Kiski team. He had a 49-yard touchdown run last week against Connellsville and shows off his running ability this week on this last play.
D'Annunzio Biss, despite the scoreboard, you wouldn't know it from the way he has been playing. You see here, he's a big, strong guy, put on a lot of weight in the offseason. See him run, beats one tackle there, has that stiff arm on, looks like that's Noah Ledford. And then Kyle Guilfoyle misses a tackle there. So good job running by D'Annunzio Biss. And Kiski could at least get something going, avoid being shut out here in these last 21 seconds.
So Kiski takes a timeout. That's its first of the half. West Allegheny has no more. And Kiski would love to get a score in before halftime hits here at Davis Field. The penultimate game being played here on the historic Davis Field in Vandergrift, Pennsylvania, before Kiski will move into its high school stadium that is being built right now to accommodate varsity games, as the pass to Kalechi bounces off of his hands. Coverage on the play by Nico Flatty. 2nd and 10 coming up for the Cavaliers. Ball spotted 33 yards away from Kiski's first score of the day. Score update around the Whippeal. A big game in 6A, Pine Richland and Pittsburgh Central Catholic. The score there, Pine Richland 33, Central Catholic 3.
Pine Richland's pretty good.
I'd say so.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Not like they're the favorite to win states or anything. Wallace, flushed out of the pocket, gets back to the line of scrimmage, so not technically a sack, but a hard hit put on by Mateo Vandemia on the quarterback Wallace. 3rd down. And Kiski will take another timeout. Clock now stopped at 7 seconds before the half. Trailing 31-0 to the West Allegheny Indians here on the West Allegheny Sports Network. Brandon Rossai, Joe Smeltzer, two West Allegheny alumni calling the action all season here on the West Allegheny Sports Network. Tune in next week whenever the Indians have a key home matchup against the Upper St. Clair Panthers. And that game could go a long way in deciding the Allegheny 9 Conference champion.
Yeah, West A, Upper St. Clair, Bob Palco, Jim Render, two Giants in the WPIAL. Next week's going to be fun. Winner likely will win the Allegheny 9 Conference. Two of the best teams in 5A.
So it's third down. Wallace trying to get his team into the end zone. Three receivers to the left. Throws to the left side. Ball is deep. And the pass is overthrown and too far to the right of Kalechi. Throwing into triple coverage into the end zone, and Wallace was lucky that pass wasn't intercepted by Ledford, who is retreating back in the end zone. Had a wide open shot to get it, but was just unable to get to it. So Kiski having a fourth down, just will probably heave one to the end zone on what is definitely going to be the final play of the second quarter, And Wallace takes the snap, unloads down the middle of the field, and the pass will be caught on the deflection by Troy Kuhn. Nico Flatty tipped it into the awaiting arms of Troy Kuhn, and it's a touchdown for Kiski.
You take him any way you can get him. Looked like an easy interception from Nico Flatty, but when the ball is wet, crazy things happen, and you see their ball ends up getting batted down, and Troy Kuhn is in the right place at the right time. Kiski is on the scoreboard.
The only gaffe seemingly committed by West Allegheny, and it comes on the last play of the first half as the kick by Evan Long is split. It will split the uprights, and Kiski cracks the scoreboard before heading into the half. 31-7 the score. West Allegheny a dominant first half, despite the fourth down gaffe committed by Nico Flatty in the end zone, swatting it down into the awaiting arms of Troy Kuhn. A dominant performance by the Indians, but it's been a tale all season long. A strong in one half. Not necessarily in the second half. We'll see what happens, but we're going to see what happened last week as West Allegheny took on Baldwin in a Week 4 Allegheny 9 home conference matchup.
Next, we will perform Sweet Child of Mine, featuring trumpet soloist Michael Koznick.
His brother was the orthodontist. Fresh when it was in by Kmart. Late August and just now, so less than a month.
VH1's list of 100 greatest rock songs of all time. This song will feature trumpet soloist Morgan Swayze, trumpet duet Alex Berhosky and Amy Nolte, and trombone soloist Aaron Berg. Ladies and gentlemen, Stairway to Heaven. Emily Hu, Joe Simon, and Elena Smith for their dedication to the band. Enjoy the second half of the show.
That's why. Because you came in the house on the side door and he didn't know you were in there. And then I came downstairs and his hair was off and I went to the bathroom. Huge! He just looks so much better.
Don't forget, that's what you're going to have.
That said that our dogs are going to be big. Oh, I look at them like they're going to be big. They eat a lot. But they said they're good-looking pups. Like, you can tell when they're maybe like months. They said they're going to be good-looking pups. They're paws.
Good-looking pups.
I have a dog. I don't have a good-looking pup.
Gotta have a good-looking pup. You want no stragglers.
We got a couple months.
Pop over tomorrow and see them.
Where they at?
They're going to stay at Stephens tonight.
I think they're at her boyfriend's house.
They had a dog run and walked past it.
Yeah.
They came up last weekend.
Because you can't go anywhere.
Every tool box.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight is Kiski Homecoming 2017 at Davis Field, and it's time for us to meet our homecoming court for this year. Senior Kai Clayton. Kai is escorted by Josh Manzi, daughter of Christian and Tiffany Clayton from Vandergrift. Kai is a member of the following clubs: King Club, Link Crew, junior coach of Kiski Valley's youth cheerleading, youth swim instructor at the YMCA, vice president of the student council, and captain of the varsity cheerleading team. Kai plays further education at the Indiana University of Pennsylvania, major in early childhood education. Ladies and gentlemen, senior Kai Clayton. Senior Peyton Davidson. Peyton is escorted by Noah Levitt, daughter of Harley Davidson and Amy Butterball from Washington Township. Peyton is a member of the following clubs: King Club, National Honor Society, Link Crew, Yearbook, Good Morning America, and participates in Kiski varsity volleyball. Peyton has plans to attend college to study pre-med and continue to med school to become a doctor. Ladies and gentlemen, senior Peyton Davison. Kiski senior Brittany Dropka. Brittany is escorted by Logan Bullock. She's the daughter of Todd and Christine Dropka of Apollo. Brittany is a member of the following clubs: Ski Club, Link Crew. She also participates in the following sports: swimming, track, and is the cross-country team captain. Brittany plans to attend Westminster College to become a physical therapist. Ladies and gentlemen, senior Brittany Dropka. Kiski senior Rebecca Minton. Minda is escorted by Jeffrey Wilkinson. Rebecca is the daughter of David and Elizabeth Minda of Bell Township. Rebecca is in the following clubs: Cavalier Leadership Council, K Club, National Honor Society. She participates on the Girls Varsity Golf Club, fall plays, musical, show choir, and jazz choir. Rebecca plans to attend a 4-year university to major in animal sciences and zoology. She would like to further her education to become a veterinarian and an animal conservationist. Ladies and gentlemen, Kiski Senior, Rebecca Minda. Kiski Area Senior, Alexis Moyer. Alexis is escorted by Jake Steria, daughter of Jeff and Lori Moyer. They reside in Oklahoma Borough. Alexis is in the following clubs: Key Club, Link Crew, Cavalier Leadership Council. Good morning, Kiski. She's the captain of the girls' soccer team and participates in girls' varsity track. Alexis plans to continue her soccer playing at Clarion University, studying nutrition and fitness. Ladies and gentlemen, Kiski Area Senior, Alexis Moyer. Kiski Senior, Erin Weaver. Erin is escorted by Shane Ross. She's the daughter of Donnie and Paula Weaver of Washington Township. Erin participates in the following clubs: Link Crew, Key Club, National Honor Society historian, Cavalier Leadership Council president, Good Morning Kiski station manager, and also participates in jazz choir, show choir, musicals, Kiski Area varsity volleyball captain, Kiski Area varsity softball, and 2016 softball MVP. Erin plans to major in nursing upon graduation. Ladies and gentlemen, Kiski Area Senior, Erin Weaver. Our crown bearer this year, Lynn Clauser, 4 years old, daughter of Jason and Julie Clauser. Jason is a teacher at Kiski's North Primary School. Lynn resides in Allegheny Township with her parents and her sister Lila. She plays soccer for the Kiski Area Soccer League and takes dance lessons at Sanderland School of Dance. Lynn's future plans are to finish preschool and begin kindergarten. She loves animals and would love to work with animals when she grows up. Lynn Clauser. The crown bearer is Isaac Christopher Smith. He's 5 years old, son of Dan and Kristen Smith. Dan is a supervisor of technology integration support at Kiski Area High School. Isaac resides in Allegheny Township with his parents and his brother Carson. Isaac attends Kiski Area North Primary School as a student in Mrs. Rinska kindergarten class. He enjoys playing basketball, soccer, golf, and riding his bike. Isaac's future plans are to ride his bike on the road. He also wants to be a movie maker and a good golfer. He would also like to color nicely in the lines of Mercury. Isaac Christopher Smith. Now, let's recognize last year's queen, Kylie Schaefer. She's escorted by Kelsey Schaefer, her oldest sister. She's the daughter of Sean and Ann Schaefer, residing in New Kensington. Since becoming queen last year, Kylie is attending Slippery Rock University, majoring in exercise science. Kylie plans to continue on to graduate school to become a physician's assistant. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for, in recognition of our entire 2017 homecoming court. And now, It's time to meet our 2017 homecoming queen. The homecoming queen for 2017-2018 is Rebecca Minda. And congratulations to Rebecca Minda, and let's have a round of applause for our entire homecoming court.
I don't want to feel like last year. We have to go get us our basketball. Let's go.
I have the 50-50. I have the 50-50 ticket. It is worth $308.
I might as well get it too.
Week 5 non-conference action from Davis Field in Vandergrift, Pennsylvania, as the Kiski Cavaliers hosting the visiting West Allegheny Indians. Brendan Rosside, Joe Smelser on the call for you. The score at halftime, 31-7 in favor of the West Allegheny Indians. A pair of 4-yard touchdown runs in the first quarter, or in the first half, excuse me, by Will Weber and Tyler Gallant, respectively. Will Weber goes down with injury, and it's next man up, as Kyle Merritt's been taking the brunt of the offensive snaps in terms of running the ball ever since Weber went down with an ankle injury. We don't know his status for this game as of right now. Isaiah Crow had an interception return for a touchdown of about 30 yards, and Cam Cruz threw one up to Mateo Vandemia in the corner of the end zone to put the score at 31 for West Allegheny, alongside a 24-yard field goal by Colby Stout. While Kiski got on the board on the last play of the first half with what some would say a lucky play, a ball that was batted down in the end zone by Nico Flatty and fell in the waiting arms of Troy Kuhn in the middle of the end zone. And really, what can you assess from this first half that occurred?
Nothing really surprising. West Allegheny obviously thought to be the better team coming in, taking care of business in the first half. The Kiski offense did have some legs, but West Allegheny, Brian Cornell's defense, they able to snuff them out. every time up until, as you said, that last Hail Mary play. The big question now coming in, we've been asking this for the past few weeks, is can West Allegheny put together 2 solid halves of football? Last week against Baldwin, allowed 11 points in the second quarter, only up by a possession in the first half before pulling away. Fox Chapel, much like tonight, dominated in the first half, struggled in the second half. Char Valley, again, a great first half, tailed off a bit in the second half. So if West Allegheny can put its foot on the pedal a little bit in this second half, that'll make a statement going into Upper St. Clair.
You see the scores right now on the right of your screen around the Allegheny 9. Fox Chapel on top of Moon 28-6. A little bit of a shocker considering how much of an advantage Fox Chapel has over the Moon Tigers. But other than that, not really any big surprises. Woodland Hills leading Hampton 21-7. North Hills on top of Baldwin 14-0. And a bit of a surpriser here, Upper St. Clair leading Char Valley by only the score of 14-6. That game is just reaching halftime. Kiski will receive to begin the second half after scoring in the last play of the first half. And the ball will roll into the awaiting arms of Ross Grease, who tries to cut it off the right side, and he's going to get nowhere. Kiski starts inside its own 20-yard line. After getting momentum to end the first half, let's see if the Cavaliers can build off of that with now new quarterback Bryson Venanzio stepping in for the original starting quarterback Ryan Wallace. So a 1st and 10, ball at the 19. Venanzio takes over the starting quarterback position right now. On the season, he's 23 for 51, 351 yards, no touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. Handoff, bouncing to the left side is Ross Grease. Grease, a nice stiff arm on Kyle Guilfoyle, but Guilfoyle with a shoestring tackle on the 6 foot, 215-pound senior. Grease outstretches to the 26-yard line, and it's a 2nd and 3 situation for the Cavaliers.
Yeah, missed opportunity there by Nate Wisłowski to tackle Grease for a short gain or even a loss, but Grease able to get a decent gain, and Kiski starting to move the ball 2nd and 3.
Venanzio getting the play call in from his sideline on this 2nd down and short. And the handoff again goes to Grease, and he's swallowed up. Flatty and Mangold getting in on the stop, pushing him backward to the 25-yard line for a 1-yard loss where the forward progress was stopped.
Nate Wisłowski again in on that play, missing that shoestring tackle, but able to trip up the running back and allow Flatty and Mangold to make that play.
Kiski set up with a 3rd down and 4. It's been pretty successful tonight on 3rd down, especially early on in the game. Let's see if they go over the middle with Jack Kalechi, who's been wide open down the middle of the field seemingly all night. And it's a rollout to the right side, pressure by Flatty, but dumps it off to the fullback, Drew D'Annunzio Biss. And Biss down to the right side. He's pushed out of bounds by Isaiah Crow. So they don't go with Kalechi, but they go with the fullback screen pass, and it works to perfection. It's a 1st down to the 39-yard line.
West Allegheny's defense getting pressure on that play, but you see that dump-off pass to D'Annunzio Biss, who I've been really impressed with. He's playing hard in spite of what the score is and showing why he is a senior captain.
He's not a senior captain, he's a junior captain.
Junior captain, right.
Which is going to pay dividends next year. He's going to be one of the leaders of the team alongside Troy Kuhn, another junior captain, and probably the quarterback Ryan Wallace, but the sophomore, Venanzio, is in. He gives to Grease. Wide open hole on the left side. And hit hard by Guilfoyle down to the 44-yard line. Correction, that's Noah Ledford making the stop down to the 44-yard line to pick up a 6 by Grease. His nickname, Grease Lightning, given by head coach Sam Albert, and he's showing why. Grease, the leader of the team in pretty much every aspect of the game. 2nd down and 4 from the 44-yard line. Venanzio this time gives to D'Annunzio Biss, and Biss nearly breaks it, but he's tripped up by Noah Ledford in West State territory to the 45-yard line, and Kiski's rolling along. Kiski moving the ball very well against West Allegheny to open up the second half. A drive that started on the 19-yard line. They're now in West Allegheny territory to the 45. And this is exactly what the doctor ordered for Kiski. And for West Allegheny, the trend continues. A strong first half and a not-so-strong second half. Venanzio under center. Grease and D'Annunzio Biss in the backfield. The give is to Grease. And Grease up the middle before being tripped up by Delavade to the 42, maybe 41-yard line. Delavade and Grease, a pair of Division I bound prospects. Delavade committing last week to Duquesne, while Grease has an offer to Robert Morris in Division II Edinboro. He picked up that offer after performing well at a pit camp over the summer, and Grease is expecting to get some more offers as the season dwindles down, as it's a 2nd and 6. Venanzio rolls out, being pressured by Ledford, throws one up, and it's complete to D'Annunzio Biss. He's pancaked in between Isaiah Crow and Anthony Delavade and Nate Vislowski on the far side of the field. Ball's going to be spotted at the, we'll call it the 38-yard line.
Yeah, Venanzio doing a good job of not backing under West Allegheny's pressure. West A's defensive line, see there, Ledford in on the zone blitz, but the defensive line getting pressure and West Allegheny not able to finish the play. Good job by Venanzio.
Venanzio was the starting quarterback last season. Against West Allegheny, he went 0 for 6 and 2 interceptions. Not the kind of outing he hoped for, but Grease goes up the middle and gets nothing there. Correction, that is Tracy Moore. Moore is tackled by Flatty and mangled at the 38-yard line. And we've been calling Flatty's name a lot, and for good reason. He's only a freshman, but the future is certainly very bright for the freshman. It's 4th and 3 for Kiski, something West Allegheny has struggled with all season long. Kiski's 0 for 1 on 4th down. Let's see if they can right that wrong from the first half. Handoff, Grease, left side, and there's a flag behind the play. Grease is down by Delavade and Vislowski, short of the line of the line to gain, which was the 35-yard line. And the call is a false start against the Kiski Cavaliers. Bob Palco will decline, and West Allegheny holds on 4th down.
Yeah, Kiski started that drive promisingly, but ends up getting snuffed out, and now the West Allegheny offense has to put this game away, not only for it to be a relief for the coaching staff as well as the players, but to get these young guys a chance to come out here and get their feet wet a little more in this second half.
Cam Cruz in at quarterback to begin the second half. He has the lone touchdown, passing-wise, for the West Allegheny Indians. His first passing touchdown of the year, his second of his career. He got earlier in the game a 6-yarder to Mateo Vandamia in the corner of the end zone. For the 1st and 10 from the 37-yard line, Cruz lobs one to the left side, and it's nowhere near Isaiah Crow. Too far outside for the 6'6 senior.
West Allegheny has been going to that left side of the field quite a lot today. It resulted in a Mateo Vandamia touchdown catch late in the first half, but Crow has a big size advantage on the defensive back. Nothing able to work there, and Cam Cruz's arm strength has really been an issue early in this season.
Cruz has been challenging the corner Tracy Moore all game long. It came back to bite Kiski with the touchdown pass to Vandamia, where Moore had the coverage on the 6'1", 230-pound junior. Moore has been lining up on that left side of the field all night long. Kiski jumps off sides, and that'll give West Allegheny 5 free yards to the 42-yard line. West Allegheny on top of Kiski, 31-7. Touchdown runs by Will Weber and Tyler Gallant. A touchdown pass from Cruz to Vandamia, and an interception return for a touchdown by Isaiah Crow. Kiski, on the other hand, a crazy play to end the half. A 32-yard touchdown pass from Ryan Wallace to Troy Kuhn. 2nd and 5 for West Allegheny at the 42-yard line. Man in motion is Kyle Merritt. Handoff, Gallant, and there's nothing doing for him. Snuffed out by Drew D'Annunzio Biss, the junior captain, out of his linebacker position, making the stop, and West Allegheny loses 1 yard. D'Annunzio Biss kind of reminds me of a throwback, kind of Armin Delavade in a way. Delavade and D'Annunzio Biss similar in size, 5'11", 215, and D'Annunzio Biss has been everywhere defensively.
Delavade now starting at Youngstown State.
3rd and 6 at the 41-yard line. Armin's brother Anthony, the starting left tackle and linebacker for West Allegheny, recently committed to Duquesne University. He will join Justin Baker and Chase Dillon, West Allegheny alumni, playing for the Dukes. Cruz, swing pass to Mateo Vandamia, and breaks away from Jack Kalechi. His helmet flies off, and by rule, the play is dead on Vandamia. Well, that's a way to tackle the 6'1", 230-pound junior. Just take his helmet off and stop the play there.
Yeah, it's not an easy feat to accomplish, bringing down Mateo Vandamia, and sometimes have to lose a helmet.
Well, that's what it took this play, as you see here on the replay. Vandamia was wide open, had single coverage on Kalechi, and Kalechi got right under the helmet and ripped the helmet right off of Vandamia. It's 4th and 4. West Allegheny forced to punt. Colby Stout boots it away. It's a high but short kick, and it's going to take a sideways bounce and be picked up by Merritt at the 34-yard line. Follow us on Twitter for game updates at WA Sports Network on Twitter. You can also follow West Day Football at West Day Football on Twitter, and also the West Allegheny Athletics page at West Day Athletics to follow the latest in West Allegheny sports. Brendan Rosside, Joe Smeltzer on the call for you all season long for the West Allegheny Football Indians. Venenzio in a quarterback. He's in the shotgun with a diamond formation to the right in the receivers. Venenzio, pressure by Mangold, slips away. Venenzio directing traffic, hit hard and overthrowing Jack Kalechi. Vislowski got in on the pressure of Venenzio, forcing a bad pass to the wide open junior.
And Nate Vislowski has really worked his way up, starting on special teams and now as a starting linebacker. He has that military work ethic. He wants to go in the military. He's in the ROTC program, and he's been all over the field on defense and special teams for West Day tonight.
I'm also noticing Brent Mangold on the defensive line. He's limping his way over. He's favoring his right ankle. Hopefully it's nothing too serious as he remains in the game for the time being. 2nd and 10. Venenzio, hands off, Grease, and nothing going on for him. He runs into a tribe of Indians. Delavade leads the charge, and Grease may have picked up one as the initial hit was by Anthony Totkis, the senior defensive tackle filling in for Logan Rossi, who was lost for the season in Week 1 against Fox Chapel. Totkis filled in for him in Week 2 and then suffered a mild concussion, thrusting Bryce Manley in the defensive tackle role. And now Totkis is back, bringing back his experience at defensive tackle as the clock is stopped with 4:41 to play in the third quarter. A pretty quick-moving third quarter after the last probably about 5 minutes of the second quarter seemed to drag on. We're here at Davis Field, the home of the Kiski Cavaliers for the time being, before Kiski will move into a new stadium located at the high school, about 10 minutes from Vandergrift, where we are right now. The JV team played there last year. The only reason why it's a turf field over at Kiski, the only reason why we're playing here is because there aren't any stands at the high school to accommodate a varsity crowd. 3rd down and 9 from the 35. Venenzio, 5-step drop, pressure by Vandamia. And throws over the middle of the field, and the pass complete to Jack Kalechi. He had a step on Noah Ledford down the middle of the field, and Kiski converts another third down, getting to the 23.
We talked earlier today about the arm strength of Venanzio, and you see it there. He has pressure on the edge from Vandamia, but just uncorks one and finds that man again, Kalechi, deep downfield, and Kiski all of a sudden in business in West Allegheny territory.
He won the starting job last year due to basically just accuracy, and this year getting a little more competition from the junior Ryan Wallace, and now it's a quarterback battle of Kiski zone between Venanzio and Wallace as D'Annunzio Biss gets wrapped up by Delavade at the line of scrimmage, and he may have gotten one, but not that much doing for the junior fullback. 2nd and 9 for Kiski at the 22-yard line. Ross Grease hasn't carried much of the load for Kiski. It's mainly been Drew D'Annunzio Biss, which is a little bit of a surprise considering that Ross Grease is the heart and soul of the team, just like how Will Weber is for West Allegheny. 2nd down and 9 as Venanzio rolls to the right, double pressured by two West A Indians. That's Flatty and Delavade, and he overthrows his target, D'Annunzio Biss, on the slip screen.
This sets up a big third down for Kiski, down by 24. Done a good job with that last big play, big throw by Bryson Venanzio to get them in West Allegheny territory. And now it's approaching the red zone, and making it a 31-14 game will go a long way in boosting the morale for this Kiski team.
Flatty and Delavade crashed that right side of the line and pretty much went unaccounted for on the Kiski right side offensive line as Venanzio is in the shotgun. A bunch formation to the left as he throws as he's hit. Pass is overthrown to Lander, covered by Isaiah Crow as Venanzio was drilled there by Anthony Takis. So it's a 4th down and 9 for Kiski. If they still had their senior kicker, Nick Biscaglia, this would certainly be field goal range for them, but Biscaglia, graduating last season, now is at Robert Morris. And it looks like the offense remains on the field. On a 4th down and medium to long for Kiski at the 22. And it's a pass play. Venanzio rolls to the right, pressured by Flatty, and he's hit. Wrapped and sacked. Elijah Colliers in on the sack.
There you see Brian Cornell sending the safety to pressure the quarterback. West Allegheny's defense has really won the battle in the trenches all night long, and Bryson Venanzio on this possession had done a good job of unleashing the ball in spite of that pressure, but there you see Flatty is in on it, and then Elijah Colliers finishing up that sack along with Brett Mangold, and West Allegheny a big stop and taking over the ball, and time is really running out for the Kiski Cavaliers, down by 3 touchdowns late in the 3rd quarter.
West A on top, 31-7, takes over at its own 31-yard line, leading 31-7 with just under 3 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Cruz gives Merritt right side as Cruz was drilled by Grease on the handoff, and Merritt dives forward to the 35. A short pickup of 4. 2nd and medium for the Indians. West Allegheny looking to build its momentum offensively that it had going into the half before Kiski took the air out of the West Allegheny defense and couldn't really do anything after that. Cruz in the shotgun, long handoff to Kyle Merritt, has some wide open greenery to the left-hand side, and nearly stripped by Ross Grease, able to hold on as he gets down to the Kiski 46-yard line.
We've been talking about all night that next man up mentality. Will Weber goes down, and Kyle Merritt getting a lot more carries than he's used to for this West Allegheny offense. But he's taking the ball and running with it, both figuratively and literally, and West Allegheny's offense is moving.
Kyle Merritt's one of the most underrated players on West Allegheny's team. He's only a sophomore and doesn't get as much credit as he deserves. He was the reserve running back, got some carries the last couple of weeks, and this week the leading rusher for the Indians. Cruz in at quarterback, standing at about midfield. And correction, that's Kyle Merritt in the Wildcat, running to the right side. And he is drilled by the 6'5" Isaac Reed, playing at nose tackle. It's a gain of 2, 2nd and 8. Isaac Reed was an honorable mention defensive lineman last year, was the Valley News Dispatch Wrestler of the Year, and competed for a PIAA heavyweight state title last year. In his career, he's 106-24, winning 16 matches by decision, 24 by fall, and he's expected to be one of, if not the top wrestler in the heavyweight class come the winter sports season. Merritt up the middle again, gets a block, sheds some more tackles, and he's clotheslined down to the 33-yard line. Making the stop is Justin Hessam and Troy Kuhn. Down to the 32-yard line goes Merritt on the 12-yard pickup. 1st and 10 from the 32-yard line with a running clock at 50 seconds to go in the third quarter. If West Allegheny scores here, the running clock will be in effect for the remainder of the game.
Cam Cruz is in as a wide receiver.
Cruz will probably be a blocker on this play as Merritt's going to take the direct snap. Running left. Nice block from Takis on the charging Troy Kuhn, but Ross Grease goes unaccounted for and brings him down to the 29-yard line. A 3-yard gain by the sophomore, Kyle Merritt, as the third quarter will come to an end. The score remains as it was at halftime, 31-7, West Allegheny on top. A real pedestrian third quarter from both teams. They're unable to get into the end zone, pretty much stalling as the drives, both teams are getting their yards, but they're unable to get into the end zone.
Yeah, and it might sound odd to say given what the score is, but I've been impressed with the way Kiski's defense has played tonight. Got off to a rough start, West Allegheny really pounding the ball down their throats. The first 2 possessions scoring touchdowns on each time, but you look at the rest of the way West Allegheny's gotten their points. They got a field goal after starting at the 11-yard line. They had that pick 6, a great play by Isaiah Crow, and then that block punt, which led to a touchdown pass to Mateo Vendemia in that left corner of the end zone. So if you break that down, aside from those first 2 touchdowns, Kiski's defense, not a whole lot to complain about tonight.
Some other scores around 5A. The Penn Trafford Warriors on top of Gateway, 21-0. Gateway, one of the top teams in all of 5A, and Penn Trafford, I said at the beginning of the season, was a sleeper team, and they're definitely proving me right. Dominating the Gators from bell to bell right now.
That Big East looks better and better every week.
We'll have to see what happens whenever the second half of the season comes around and whenever playoffs start. The Big East certainly looks stronger than the Allegheny 9 from top to bottom. More teams are in contention to make the playoffs. 2nd down and 7 coming up for West Allegheny as we begin the fourth quarter. Cruz throwing over the middle of the field, and it's too high for Kyle Guilfoyle, who was lined up as the running back, and went out for the wheel route.
Guilfoyle had his man beat, but Cruz again struggling with accuracy. Throw a little too deep, and now a big 3rd down for Kiski as a score from West Allegheny would really almost put the final nails in the coffin.
Another score update in the Allegheny 9 conference. The Woodland Hills Wolverines on top of Hampton, 28-14. And the Fox Chapel Foxes are just about to mercy roll the Moon Tigers. They're on top 35-6 with 6 minutes left in the third quarter. On 3rd and 7, Cruz gets a pass batted away by Isaac Reed using his height to his advantage and swats the ball away. It's 4th down and 7. Spencer Mason a little shaky to get up. He's limping his way, favoring his left ankle. This West Allegheny team already banged up by injuries and can't afford to lose anyone else, especially with Will Weber going down earlier in the first half, and that could be disastrous next week. But we're here at week 5. West Allegheny leads Kiski 31-7.
See if they go to Isaiah Crow here, lined up on Tracy Moore.
And Cruz looks right the whole way, throws, and the pass is too strong for Jake Davis. Bounces off of his hands, and Kiski takes over from its own 29-yard line. An exciting second quarter is followed up by both teams not being able to do anything other than just move the ball and stall deep in its opponent's territory, whether it be Kiski stalling at the West A 30 or West Allegheny not being able to capitalize from the Kiski 30. Nonetheless, let's see if Kiski can break that trend here. Venenzio has 2 receivers to each side with Grease, the sidecar, to his left. Venenzio rolls left, fires, and the pass is over the head of Luke Lander. Just too tall for the diminutive receiver, standing at only 5'8", 165 pounds. It's 2nd and 10. Lander, despite being small in stature, he has a big heart and is also playing big on the field. He recently just visited Toledo and is expected to be one of the top prospects in the class of 2020. Kiski has a very talented sophomore class. They're going to be very, very good, not just next year, but the year following as well. 2nd and 10 at the 29. Venenzio in the shotgun now with 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left, and a pre-snap penalty before the snap. The call from head referee Mitch Bachuchin is a false start against the Cavaliers. Back them up 5 more to the 24-yard line. It's something that Kiski's been killed with all season long is penalties. It's been getting to the Cavaliers game in and game out, averaging 6 penalties a game. And Kiski will continue that trend here tonight against West Allegheny. 2nd and 15. Ball at the 24-yard line with West Allegheny on top, 31-7. Same formation, just now 3 receivers to the left and 1 on the right. The fake handoff to Grease as Venenzio stripped, fumble, as Mateo Vandamia got in on the sack. Huge hit on the sophomore quarterback, jarring the ball loose. And luckily for Kiski, it was all Cavaliers around the ball. West Allegheny, the nearest West A Indian was Vandamia, and he was just getting up from the sack.
Mateo Vandamia coming in off the edge. Venenzio never saw him able to force that fumble. Kiski, fortunately for them, being able to recover it, but West Allegheny defensive line is definitely winning this battle with the Kiski offensive front.
3rd and 15. As you see on the replay here, Vandamia went unaccounted for on the right side. Venenzio, pass goes past him. The snap goes past him, and Kiski's going to back up all the way to the 7-yard line. There's a fight for the ball between Venenzio and Mangold. West A says they have it, and the referees disagree, and Kiski has the ball again at the 7-yard line, but it's 4th down and about the distance between West Allegheny and Kiski in terms of miles.
This is a concerning situation for Kiski, considering the trouble that special teams has had all night with snapping the ball.
Custer stands about 6 yards deep in his own end zone, while Ledford waits at the 40. Snap is taken, and the punt is off by Custer. Punt is bobbled by Noah Ledford, and he's able to jump on the ball, and now we got a scrum, and now we got a fight going on between Brock Downing and Jessup Wilson. Sam Albert attending to Peyton McCann, who got in on the scrum, and luckily it didn't escalate from there. West Allegheny will take over. Initially at the 48-yard line, but there's a flag down. It's going to be a 15-yard penalty, but it depends on who it's against, and it's against the Cavaliers. As you can hear from our stream, the Kiski fans in front of us not happy with the call. And really, you could have had you could have a case for both sides being an unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah, you have to keep a level head regardless of what the score is, regardless of how late it is in the game. There's a few things coaches don't like more than players losing their cool. It's a game of high emotions, but no matter what an opposing team might do to try to rile a player up, he has to keep his head. And you see there West Allegheny getting a little involved, but the penalty is on Kiski, and West Allegheny look to take advantage of it.
It was because of the shove by McCann that triggered the 15-yard penalty. As the second string comes in, Logan Scheider clothesline in the backfield by Drew D'Annunzio Biss, who blitzed from his linebacker position, and it's second down and long. More scores around the Allegheny 9, as I mentioned. Woodland Hills on top of Hampton, 28-14. Fox Chapel leads Moon, 35-6. North Hills close with Baldwin, 17-7, and Upper St. Clair beginning to run away with it against Chartiers Valley, 24-6 is the score there. First string remains in for Kiski. They stacked 9 in the box, while the second string for West Allegheny is in the game. Divin will roll out, throws over the middle, and there's going to be contact and a pass interference against Jessup Wilson, who tackled the Indian wide receiver before the ball was even let go.
Yeah, before that penalty, great job of picking up the blitz by Logan Scheider. Doing a good job making sure Kiski is not getting any pressure on Jamie Divin. Scheider, one of the reserves, in now picking up that blitz well, and West Allegheny able to get that pass interference penalty.
So the ball is going to be spotted at the 23-yard line with the reserves in for West Allegheny. The first string is banged up after Will Weber went down with a devastating injury in the second quarter. Hoping to hear the status for him later in the week. Hopefully he'll be okay for Upper St. Clair. West A is going to need him next week against one of the top teams in 5A in Upper St. Clair. Scheider again fighting his way forward. And some more extracurricular going on between Scheider and Troy Kuhn. Tossing Scheider late down to the grass. And it's second down, 8 to go from the 21-yard line. West Allegheny will move to 5-0 overall. The conference record will remain at 4-0 with the victory over Kiski, unless the Cavaliers can score 24 points in 8 minutes and 40 seconds. Divin hands off to the running back going up the middle. That's Kyle Guilfoyle. Down to the 21-yard line, Guilfoyle goes. He's tackled by Peyton McCann. Down to the 21-yard line. Third down and 8 coming up for West Allegheny. Ball just outside of the 20-yard line.
West Allegheny, again, not really doing anything in this second half, and they've yet to put two good halves together, and this is a big third down to see if they can get a score on this possession and put the game to bed.
Offensively, it's been a struggle, but defensively, the Indians, they haven't contained Kiski, but they've held them in check, if that makes any sense. They kept them out of the end zone, which is really all that matters when it comes down to it. But West Allegheny calls a timeout with 7:50 to play in the game, a 24-point lead for West Allegheny, leading the Kiski Cavaliers. Correction on the last carry on the play was Justin Edwards, the 5'9", 170-pound freshman. One of the better freshman coming in for the class of 2021 is Justin Edwards, getting his first varsity carry.
And this Kiski offense struggled all season long, only averaging 17 points a game. That's a big reason why they are just 1-4 coming into tonight. But they've been able to move the ball, and it's a matter of just finishing the job when you get into the opposing team's territory. Kiski has moved the ball with Brett Venanzio tonight, but especially in the second half. But West Allegheny's defense has bent but not broken.
3rd and 8, West Allegheny. Ball spotted 21 yards away from a mercy roll. Divin goes in the shotgun, takes a 3-step drop, fires to the right side and through the breadbasket of Logan Scheider. 4th down coming up for the Indians, and once again it's decision time with a 24-point lead for Bob Palco and his West Allegheny team, and it looks like the offense will stay out onto the field, and they will not attempt the 38-yard field goal.
If DJ Absadnik was still here, maybe that would be a little different.
Possibly, but Colby Stout,
he's done a very good job.
He doesn't have the leg of Satnik, but he's filled in admirably for the senior kicker who's now kicking over at Alderson Broadus. Divin has to roll out, and he is dragged down. Troy Kuhn getting the sack. And Kiski takes over on downs, 1st and 10. Ball spotted at the 26.
Yeah, seeing more of the miscommunication with the snapping, and a lot of that has to do, as we mentioned before, with the wet ground. But West Allegheny, nothing doing on that play, a poor snap, and not a lot that Jamie Divin could do about that. And Kiski will take over with a chance to make this game look respectable here as we enter the halfway point of the 4th quarter.
For the most part, it's starters still in for Kiski. Venanzio in a quarterback, but a change in running backs. Tracy Moore will get the carry and run into a wall of West Allegheny Indians on the defensive line. Vince Staub getting in on the tackle. The younger brother of our very own Nick Staub, who will be graduating later this year. 2nd and 10 for the Cavaliers. Tracy Moore remains in at running back. Venanzio has played the entire second half, has done a pretty good job for this Kiski offense. And the handoff, Denunzio Biss. And again, he gets nowhere. David Pritchett in on the tackle. And once again, Vinny Staub in on the stop. And a West A Indian is slow to get up, and he remains on his feet. That's Kyle Merritt. Doesn't look too affected, though, so that's the good news, considering that Kyle Merritt filled in for Will Weber in both his offensive and defensive positions over at linebacker and at running back. Kyle Merritt's going to be keyed on heavily next week against Upper St. Clair. His practice week just became a whole lot tougher. 3rd and 8, ball to 28. Venanzio has all sorts of time, fires to the right side, and it's dropped by Andrew Mason. Mason juggled it around his hands, and Jarrett Custer will lead the punt team out yet again.
Once again, both offenses remain stagnant. As you see here, good job by Venanzio getting the ball away and looking for at least a decent gain with that short pass on the button hook. But receiver not able to haul it in, and Kiski again has to punt.
Jared Custer had a block punt earlier, and another snap slipped through his fingers. It's a good snap again, and we'll fire this one away. Ledford will retreat, and a nice Kiski roll down to the 26-yard line. West Allegheny will set up shop deep in its own territory with 5 minutes and 39 seconds to play in quarter number 4. We keep talking about the Upper St. Clair game, but really that's the biggest game on the schedule for West Allegheny, and it's just a week away. The team is banged up. Will Weber got hurt earlier today. Logan Rossi out for the year. Talk is coming back from an injury. And West Allegheny just needs to regroup. They dominated Kiski throughout the night, and really it's just about getting healthy for the coming game against Upper St. Clair next week before going on the road to Hampton and returning home for a Week 8 showdown with a new rival in the Woodland Hills Wolverines. We'll have the call of those games right here on the West Allegheny Sports Network. Brennan Rossi and Joe Smeltzer will be on the call for you next week as the Indians return home versus Upper St. Clair. Logan Scheider weaves his way through traffic, and Andrew Mason turns on the jets and brings Scheider down before he can break it down to the 37-yard line.
Good job blocking on that play by number 59, Trent Stalling, one of the reserves for this West Allegheny Indians football team. And West Allegheny has not scored in the second half, hasn't had a lot going on offense really since scoring on its first two possessions. But could very well be its last offensive possession of the game, and it'd be nice to kind of move the ball down the field and leave on a high note.
There's mainly reserves in for Kiski. I see a few starters still in the game, such as Tracy Moore on the near side cornerback position. As the handoff, Justin Edwards. And Edwards is wrestled down after a 1-yard gain by the defensive tackle, Brian Sames. Brian Sames, his brother, Aiden Sames, is one of the team captains, but Aiden Sames not dressing today. He's injured. But nonetheless, 2nd down and 9 for the Indians with a 31-7 lead over the Kiski Cavaliers with 4.5 to go in the game. Divin in a quarterback. He has yet to complete a pass this game. Correction, that is Cam Cruz, but he hands off. Tristan Stokes, there's a flag down behind the play. And if it's behind the play, generally it's a holding call, so we'll wait and see what the call is from head referee Mitch Pachuchin. It is a hold. So back West Allegheny up 10 yards to the 39-yard line, make that the 29. And 2nd down and 8 just became 2nd down and 18. First string offense will get a rest except for the quarterbacks. Jamie Divin and Cam Cruz still fighting for that starting quarterback position. I think next week will tell a lot in terms of who's going to be the starting quarterback.
Yeah, it'll tell a lot for the whole team, really. First major test West State has faced all season and could very well decide the conference championship.
Divin rolls to the left, dumps it off. Pass is dropped by Shea Downing, who has returned from injury for the past couple of weeks. He was hampered with a leg injury, and it's 3rd and long. West Allegheny, as I mentioned, will remain undefeated on the year. Upper St. Clair, if it can hold on to the 24-6 lead that it had last time we checked, will also remain undefeated in the section and move to 5-1 overall. West Allegheny is the only undefeated team remaining in the Allegheny 9. But that's because Upper St. Clair faced one of the top teams in Ohio in Steubenville, led by former West Allegheny quarterback in youth and middle school, Javon Davis. Divin rolls left, and he's going to tuck it and run down to the 29-yard line, trying to get out of bounds. And correction, that's Cam Cruz as he's undercut on the play by Andrew Mason. There's a flag thrown on the near side of the field. It's getting hard to tell the difference between Cruz and Divin because they both have a similar style. And also, Cruz and Divin, since they're the starting quarterbacks, and they're still fighting for that job, it's getting harder and harder to tell which ones, not only who's alike, but also who's going to come out with the starting quarterback.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. It looked like in the second half of that North Hills game, that dramatic 29-28 overtime win, that the job was Cruz's to lose. He played very well in that second half. It was a big reason that West State came back and won that game. But the past 3 weeks, neither quarterback has really been able to break through, and a lot of it's been masked because of Will Weber and Dante Flatty in that running game. But West Allegheny needs to open up its offense a little more, and somebody has to step up in throwing the football later in this season, especially next week.
And if Weber can't make it to next week, someone needs to step up because you can't just beat Upper St. Clair with the run game. You need a complete team to do that. Rugby-style kick will take a West A bounce to the 20, make that the 33-yard line, and Kiski will take over from there, 1st and 10. Trailing by 24 with 3:49 to go in the game. Score update elsewhere in the Allegheny 9, the Upper St. Clair Panthers taking charge against Chartiers Valley. It's 31-12 in that game with about 4 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Chartiers Valley winless on the year and has struggled to get anything going against anybody in the Allegheny 9, despite having one of the better quarterbacks in 5A in Reed Brueggemann. That's something that West Allegheny lacks, is that true quarterback. And they need to find that, especially with the Panthers coming into town next week. New quarterback in, Tavian Harbison, will hand off to the reserve fullback, going up the middle and slipping his way through a few tackles is that reserve fullback for the Kiski Cavaliers by Mike Ellenberger. It's a gain of 6 on the play, 2nd down and 4 from the 39-yard line as he was gang tackled by a tribe of Indians. The only starter in now for West Allegheny, Seth Rosen in at defensive end. But everybody else, it's all reserves, trying to rest everyone up as much as possible for next week. 2nd and 4. The handoff, Tracy Moore. Nothing doing there as he's undercut at the 42-yard line, getting close to the 1st down, and Moore is slow to get up.
Yeah, Moore hasn't seen a lot of carries tonight. Last week he did a very good job against Connellsville, rushing 8 times for 64 yards over a run long of 25 yards. Moore has been a fixture on the defensive side of the ball, doing a serviceable job playing that left side quarterback. But West Allegheny, I haven't seen a lot of Tracy Moore, and has had to deal with him a lot on the offensive end tonight.
3rd and 1 from the 42-yard line. Kiski hands off. Harbison over to the new fullback, Austin Abel Swarmer. And it's a 1st down for the Cavaliers. For Kiski, it's back to the drawing board, and I would say that it has an easy road ahead, but if I said that, I'd be a liar. Because Kiski next week, hosting McKeesport, then traveling to Gateway and Penn Trafford. That's 3 Whippeal Championship contenders right there, and if you include West Allegheny, that's 4. As the handoff, back to Moore, nothing doing there. Gets down to the 45-yard line for a gain of 1.
It's hard to imagine any team in 5A and maybe the whole Whippeal facing as much of a gauntlet as Kiski is in this second half of the season.
Last year it had a little bit of an advantage because it came into the game against West Allegheny 4-1, losing 5 straight, and that was against 5 of the top teams in all of the Whippeal, and including Penn Trafford. That's a team that in any other classification makes the playoffs. It was just the fact that the Big East is so tough that Penn Trafford just barely missed there. 2nd and 8. The handoff going to the right side is Evan Long, and Long is dragged to the turf by Connor Stout, the younger brother of Colby Stout and West Allegheny alumni Christian and Carolyn Stout, who are both at Penn State. 3rd down and 8 coming up for the Cavaliers.
Yeah, and Kiski facing that gauntlet, but although its playoff prospects don't look promising this season, you've mentioned before a young team, a lot of talented players in that sophomore class, so facing this quality of competition will pay dividends for the future of this program.
3rd and 8, Harbison under center. The new quarterback hands off, and the running back brought down yet again, Evan Long, swarmed under by Connor Stout. Again, making a fine defensive play. His second consecutive tackle this time goes for a loss, and it's 4th and 10. Connor Stout, the original soccer player turned footballer. And the winning song for West Allegheny plays on the far side of the field. Kiski may get one more play off as the clock winds down to 15 seconds. West Allegheny will win over Kiski. 31-7 is the score. And it looks like that's going to be the ball game here from Davis Field. The penultimate game here at this historic field in Vandergrift, Pennsylvania. And West Allegheny, a dominant second quarter, jumps out to a 31-7 victory over the Kiski Cavaliers in non-conference action. Really, it's what we expected from West Allegheny, dominating the first half and defensively giving up its yardage, but containing the rushing attack of Ross Grease and company, along with its two quarterbacks, Ryan Wallace and Bryson Venenzio.
Yeah, kind of hard to gauge West Allegheny's performance tonight. Nothing really revealing. You know, they came in as the favorites. They got the win, did what it had to do. And, West Allegheny, a big game next week, obviously. Unless something crazy happens next week, the winner of next week's game will walk away with the Allegheny 9 Conference Championship. But West A did what it had to do. Credit to Kiski's defense for keeping the offense off the board in the second half, not letting the game get too out of hand. But West A, again, has to put a complete football game together. Good job tonight, beating Kiski. They're supposed to do that. And, next week, the health of Will Weber in particular is going to be a big question going into what is undoubtedly the biggest game of the regular season.
But if Weber isn't able to go, it's next man up. You're expected in this program to fill in for the shoes of whoever it is you may be replacing, whether it be a Will Weber, a Logan Ross that we saw earlier on in the year, and Anthony Takis when he went down with a concussion, a Noah Ledford when he was having injury problems. This is a team that is loaded and is expected to compete no matter who the opponent is, and especially against an opponent like Upper St. Clair, who is one of the top teams in the Allegheny 9, but has struggled against lesser opponents such as Baldwin, Chartiers Valley early on in the first half. And another thing that we're taking away here, offensively, yes, it was a struggle for West Allegheny in the second half, not able to do anything. But in the second half, defensively, a fine performance by West Allegheny all around, despite giving up a few yards here and there. But for my partner Joe Smeltzer, I'm Brennan Rossai saying thank you so much for tuning in to this Week 5 non-conference edition of the West Allegheny Sports Network. Final score from Davis Field, West Allegheny 31, Kiski 7.